So let's begin. Oh, okay, so you don't need that. I will talk about a little about smart contracts, since they are gaining recognition nowadays. The pros and cons about their existence, and I would like only to give an introductory description about them, since this topic is quite new for me as well. And also we will talk about the regulation attempts of AI in the European Union, although not in the detail that you have, Eva. And the most important aims of these regulations. And I will also shed some light on the existing regulations on smart contracts in Serbia and Hungary, and reflect on the distinction between smart contracts and the so-called smart legal contracts. In the last century, technology has transformed many areas of life, including how we handle contracts. One of the latest innovations in this area is smart contracts. These are self-executing agreements built on blockchain technology, meaning that they automatically follow through on the terms of a contract without the need for human intervention. This helps to make processes faster, cuts down on costs, and increases transparency, just like electronic contracts did when the internet first became widespread. Smart contracts bring several benefits. They make things more efficient by automating tasks, get rid of middlemen, and help reduce administrative costs. Plus, because they are built on blockchain, they are transparent and hard to alter, which helps reduce risk of fraud as well. However, there are some challenges as well. We need coding and blockchain knowledge to set them up, and once they are up and running, they are hard to change, which can make fixing mistakes difficult. Additionally, the legal status of smart contracts isn't clear in every country, which can create uncertainty as well. As technology evolves, it's crucial to understand how these changes impact contract law, and in the following part of the presentation we will talk a little about that. So this is Eva's part. AI is rapidly changing the way we interact with technology, and it is essential to ensure that it benefits humanity. And this requires building trust throughout strong regulations that protect fundamental rights, human dignity, and privacy. The European Union is leading this effort through comprehensive AI regulations. While national governments are still the primary regulators, international cooperation is crucial for effective coordination in this fast-evolving field. A major milestone in AI regulation was the recent approval of the AI Act this year, which aims to create a unified legal framework for AI development across the European Union. This act encourages the growth of human-centric and trustworthy AI while ensuring safety and protecting fundamental rights. And as I mentioned previously, smart contracts are also gaining attention, especially with the rise of blockchain technology. The European Union is working to ensure that smart contracts are legally recognized and can function across borders, with Malta actually leading the way in setting clear regulations for their enforceability. Both artificial intelligence and smart contracts present tremendous opportunities, but they require strong legal frameworks to ensure that these technologies are used reasonably. The European Union's efforts to regulate these areas are key to fostering innovation while protecting society. So, legal literature elaborates on a possible precursor of smart contracts. These are the so-called Ricardian contracts, which were considered a method to register documents and securely connect them to other systems, for example, accounting. The primary aim with Ricardian contracts was to codify the elements that define a given legal agreement, also in a format that could be elaborated and executed by a software before the execution of the contract. This means that parties were able to express their intentions in digital form, but the contract was not executed until certain conditions were met. One of the initial steps toward technological advancement of contract law was the introduction of contracting by electronic means, as well representing a technical shift in the modus of concluding contracts. But actually I found it in your articles that these electronic contracts are just another type of contracts that they are not in paper but in an electronic form. So the contract itself is the same, just the representation of it is a little different. So, however, as to smart contracts, Nick Szabo was the first who introduced the concept of smart contracts, defined as machine-readable transaction protocols. While initially defined as simple code, modern smart contracts are complex and rely on blockchain technology for secure and automated execution. These contracts are ideal for cross-border agreements or scenarios where trust is lacking between the parties. However, there is a distinction between smart contracts, which execute automatically without human intervention, and smart legal contracts, which are legally binding. The enforceability of these contracts is a heavily disputed matter in legal literature, because one of the key elements that makes a contract is its enforceability. This is especially because smart contracts operate as code and are not inherently legally enforceable. However, on the other hand, smart legal contracts are beginning to gain recognition. This is the case, for example, in Serbia, where the Act on Digital Property allows for smart contracts in digital asset trading and pledge contracts. Although the law in Serbia addresses these contracts as smart contracts, it mainly pertains to their application in pledge agreements, where enforcement is automated through the contract itself. In this context, the legal enforceability of a contract of pledge appears to be unnecessary. Namely, the pledgee can include in the contract the right to retain the subject of the pledge. So if the pledger fails to meet his or her commitment within a given time limit, the contractual provisions will be activated and the encumbered asset will come under the pledgee's control, thus rendering the possibility of legal enforcement unnecessary. I'm sorry about my voice, but I was ill the whole week, so I'm trying to do my best. On the other hand, as of the moment, Hungary has not yet developed specific regulations on smart contracts. And now we are already at the conclusions. As I have mentioned, the adoption of smart contracts brings forth several challenges. These include the need for technical expertise, difficulties in error correction, and the lingering sense of legal uncertainty. Both Hungary and Serbia recognize the validity of electronic contracts and signatures, yet their approaches to smart contracts differ significantly. Serbia has taken a more comprehensive approach, explicitly regulating smart contracts under the Act of Digital Property. However, the legal nature of smart contracts, despite the accessible regulations in Serbia, remain unclear and laconic in the legal sense. Hungary, on the other hand, while focusing on electronic contracting, has yet to introduce specific norms addressing smart contracts. My personal conclusion is that although some countries made the first steps towards the legal regulation of smart contracts, as Serbia has, it is far not enough to create acts or regulations. It has to be done thoroughly after a deep research of the matter and not to create more confusing and open problems. So that would be my introductory remarks on the topic. It will be detailedly written in the, or actually already has been written in my article that will be published next year in the spring. Thank you very much for your attention.